Hey there YouTube, this is an addition that I'm tacking onto the beginning of this video before getting into the meat of it, because I have some official announcements, some business to take care of beforehand. First of all, Gerard, Wolfgang1, whose channel you will find floating around here, many happy returns indeed. Gerard is one of those Transformers collectors who started making videos about the same time that I did. And it's odd, there's always been a sort of kinship amongst those Transformers collectors. Izuki Garoto and Tatamus Prime, myself, and Barutazaru Thew, and many others. Always a pleasure to deal with Gerard, and his videos are fantastic, regardless of what their content is, and there's a wide variety of videos on his channel as well, so go ye forth and check out Wolfgang1. Secondly, it's a rare day these days that I'm not bombarded by PMs and comments on my channel asking where Ray I Love Mess is, or for news of Ray. And I haven't really been at liberty to answer in any great detail, but I do have a couple of messages from Ray. First of all, if you head over to the sidebar, you will find a couple of links. One to the MySpace page of the Maximals, and the Maximals are the band of which Ray is a key member. Their MySpace page has been inactive for a while, owing to some developments involving the band and their position, their status. But if you head over there now, you will find that their MySpace page is active once again. Secondly, Ray is auctioning off a rather special item. Again, links in the sidebar. An item that is often referred to as the Holy Grail of Transformers collecting, and rightly so. It's not only the largest Transformer ever created, it's also one of the most difficult to get a hold of, certainly complete, as it seems to be composed almost entirely of bits and pieces. I'm referring of course to Fortress Maximus. Yes, Ray is auctioning off a Fortress Maximus on eBay. It is complete, it's in a very good condition, so if you fancy a Fortress Maximus for a very reasonable price, head over to the link in the sidebar and check it out. Hey there YouTube! You remember that review of 2012 I did a while back? Well, take everything I said in that review, reverse it, and you've got my reaction to Avatar. After 2012, my faith in mainstream big-budget cinema was hanging by a thread. A molecule thin. It really was. But Avatar has exceeded all of my expectations. I didn't really know what to think of it when I first went to see it. I'd seen a lot of the trailers and I'd read a lot about it. I was blown away by the footage that I'd seen, but some of the blurb about the story made me a bit I'm not sure. And I'd also heard that sometimes the dialogue was a bit ropey, which is fine. I can get over that. But what I didn't expect was something as aesthetically beautiful as this film was. Even if the script were absolute shit, and it isn't, even if the acting were awful, and it's not, this movie would be worth going to see, just for its aesthetic qualities. It is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. It is the very best CG I've ever seen. Insofar as I'm concerned, this is an example of what CG can be used for. I tend to balk at the excess of CG and CG creatures and whatnot that are in mainstream films at the moment, principally because they tend to have a habit of drawing attention to the fact that they're CG. This film does the opposite. Its intention is to create a realistic environment which is believable. It functions. That's the thing about Avatar and the world, the environment in which it functions, which is an alien world called Pandora. It feels very, very real whilst you're watching it, as do the characters, whether they are live action or CG. I believe that the CG ones are a mixture of both. I'm not quite sure what the techniques are behind it. Either way, it's so visually impressive that I spent the vast majority of the film in awe. Absolute awe. The film is 3 hours long. It's a good long film, but it doesn't feel like it. Principally because every single frame has something beautiful. Every single one has something that will distract your attention. And usually multiple things. There's so much going on. Most of Pandora consists of a sort of an alien jungle-scape, which has its own idiosyncratic flora and fauna, all of which seems to, interestingly, have been designed with regards to realistic evolutionary principles. If you look at the creatures and the plant life of Pandora, and the way they work, and the way they interact with one another, it's very obvious that the people who are responsible for designing them looked at life on this planet. They looked at the way life functions, and the forms that life takes, and try to design a realistic alien world. One could very easily believe that many of the creatures on Pandora and the plants and whatnot could exist given a different environment. It is an amazing achievement. It is one of the most expensive films ever made. The budget for this movie was huge, and it shows. The movie is a thing of beauty and can be appreciated exclusively on aesthetic values. That said, it's also a damn good film. It's a really good mainstream film that deals with ideas and does so in a reasonably complicated and insightful manner. The story basically involves a futurescape in which human beings have moved out from Earth and have started colonising other planets, and there is a particular colony on this alien world, Pandora, which is actually not a world, it's a moon that's orbiting a much larger world, which is not made reference to, funnily enough. You only see this larger world in the background, so there's plenty of potential for a sequel here. And the reason the human beings are on Pandora is to mine a particular element which is only found on Pandora and in very small amounts. It's awfully named unobtainium. I know, when I first heard that I thought, oh no, that's just horrendous. But fortunately it's not referenced very much. It's just a MacGuffin really to drive the plot along. And in fact, I believe the unobtainium itself is only mentioned once, and then they just reference it visually. And the elements that exist on this planet are the human military and the commercial factors that are driving them. Unfortunately, they are clashing with a group of indigenous humanoid natives called the Na'vi. And the Na'vi are upright humanoid creatures with blue skin and tails. And the Na'vi do not take kindly to the encroachment of human beings on their territory. One group of human beings, the scientists who have come to study the indigenous life, led by Sigourney Weaver, who is fantastic in this film, as she is in almost everything, are trying to establish diplomatic relations with the Na'vi, and to that end they have created these things called avatars. And avatars are synthetic bodies that are grown from a mixture of human and Na'vi DNA. Each avatar is keyed to a particular human being's genetic structure, or some sort of Star Trek blurb like that, meaning that only one human being or a very close relative of that human being can drive each avatar. And the way it works is their personality is transplanted directly into the avatar, so it's as if they are this creature. They are a Na'vi. They temporarily become a Na'vi, basically. And that leads to some really interesting plot developments, because you have existential problems going on where the human beings go native. It's they become so involved in the Na'vi culture, and with being a Na'vi, that it becomes more significant and more real to them than their waking lives as a human being.